All right, we're good to go.
All right, so just catching up on a recording because we unfortunately we were not able to record when we had a bunch of people with the Atlanta open house call. So this is just some basic questions that we had went over during the open house. A lot of shared interest, but also a lot of shared questions. So hopefully this will cover those bases. So for those who don't know, I'm Michael. I'm leading up are one of the leaders who is forming the RevFit Atlanta affiliate down here. And I've been teaching self defense classes down here for almost a year, a little less. For those of you who have experienced that, awesome. If not, that's still stuff going on. Um, he, him, they, them pronouns. I think that's about it. And I'll turn it over to you, Shawn. Who are you?
Um, so Shawn Garcia, based in New York City. I'm one of the founders of Revolutionary Fitness. I also am the acting executive director for the Revolutionary Fitness Academy, which is our education organization that works within the Revolutionary Fitness umbrella. And I'm also um, a co-op worker owner in New York City of our Harlem studio, and uh, have been doing that now for coming on 3 years. So we've had Revolutionary Fitness around for 8, and we've had the Harlem studio for about 3 years. So that's what I've been doing.
Awesome. All right. So, what is revolutionary fitness?
Yeah. So
What do y'all do?
yeah. So there's a lot of different things that we do. Um, but in essence, Revolutionary Fitness, what we are is a health and fitness education organization that primarily focuses on providing education and services within underdeveloped communities here in the US and also in other countries that we are now creating our efforts in. And, really addressing the lack of access and inaccessibility and the elitist culture of a lot of things in the health, fitness, and wellness world. So we do our certification program, we do educational courses, we do workshops and clinics and different things to expose people to different knowledge around health, fitness, and wellness. And then out of that, of course, we also provide services. So as we develop more fitness ambassadors, more coaches, more trainers, we deliver fitness classes, wellness workshops, we do nutritional planning and coaching. So we have the education organization, and then out of that, within the communities that we're working, developing all these fantastic instructors who can then spread the message of health, fitness, and wellness for everyone in the communities that they're based in. And so we were created in 2010, and initially it was created by a bunch of social activists, social justice activists, who wanted to do kind of like community care, self-care work together. So it was just like workouts for activists at first here in New York City. And then quickly it became something that we realized we could provide to the community, and it'd be a way to connect with our communities, and something that is political. Health and fitness are deeply political, but it's not like a political forum. It's not like a flyer to go to a protest. It's not something of that nature. It's a service that everyone needs. And so it was a way to connect with the community, work out together, sweat together, but also have conversations about politics and talk about the state of our communities and struggles for liberation. And then we started spreading throughout New York City and realizing that the crisis of health and fitness, I mean, we knew it, but when we started working in the community specifically that we were based in, we started realizing that just a fitness class here and there, workshop here and there wasn't going to be enough. And so that's when we made the transition to becoming an education-based organization. so that we could start empowering members of our community, so we could start changing conditions internally. You know, we could start providing fitness classes in our local community centers. We can have workshops internally about how to make our cultural dishes more healthier and more, you know, full of nutrition. And basically it just kind of started growing from there. And so now where we're at is we launched our affiliate program, which we'll talk about throughout this call, about a year ago, and we started spreading into different cities. And currently we're in 10 different cities, 2 of which are out of the US, in Sweden and Denmark. And so we've been growing, and we hope to, you know, bring more people into the community and really create a network of these fitness professionals, health professionals, wellness professionals who are doing work in our communities with a social political analysis, which I guess we're going to talk a lot about.
Right. Awesome. So I hear a lot about the political aspect of this, which I really value. You know, I think a lot of times when people like people want to do something, you know, just regular people, like they look for some way to change, like to help change or like make the world better. And there's not very many outlets for that I think address things systematically. I think this is one way that is engaging folks and has the capacity to do that. So you mentioned the affiliates, and I'm going to kind of combine this with like who is this, who is it for? Like who is this program for? Because I know on the call you had talked about the particularities of the different affiliates, like almost the demographics of the Swedish affiliate. You know, you kind of touched on what's going on with you in New York. So I'm wondering, like, who is it for? Both the certification and people who are just interested in, or like that, those communities, I guess.
Right, definitely. I think, you know, we could say it's for everyone. I mean, but that's a very cliche kind of thing to say. But more specifically, I think if we talk about, you know, trying to change the conditions in our communities, trying to get rid of the oppressive kind of conditions that a lot of us are living in, and the prejudices, and, you know, the discrimination, and the you know, violent attacks by the state on our communities. You know, to have these conversations, it's almost undeniable that we also have to have conversations about health, wellness, fitness. We have to have these conversations in our talks about liberation. And so definitely anyone who's interested in changing the conditions in their community, who are, you know, want to empower members of their community, you know, the certification is definitely for you, but being part of Revolutionary Fitness and the work that we're doing overall is definitely a place for all of those folks, you know. So if we're talking about how we're going to battle police brutality and the violent attack on Black America, right, that has to be in discussion with wellness and sustainability of our communities and self-defense and things like this. So, you know, it's kind of broad in that sense, but more specifically, who we try to basically bring into our community, who we aim to recruit, are folks who are representative of the communities that we work in. And that's really important to us. Not that you can be from, you know, a different community, but we really are focused on developing leadership within, you know, people of color communities, you know, female leadership, gender nonconforming, LGBTQ folks, able-bodied, non-able-bodied. I mean, we want to make sure that the leadership is really reflective of the communities that we're doing the work in, and that the service providers, the people who are the teachers, the coaches, are reflective of those neighborhoods and those communities as well. Because we believe that, you know, anyone can go into a neighborhood and have a great effect, but it means so much more when that person is of that neighborhood, understands the day-to-day struggles when it comes to health, fitness, and wellness and survival in those neighborhoods, and can really relate to their students and to the people that they're working with. You know, so that's a big thing. So in different places where we set up shop, different affiliate locations, they're going to take on the demographic of the communities that they're servicing. So like we talked about in New York is definitely a lot of people of color, mostly Black and Latino and Asian. Not to say that there's not, there's other types of folks who live in New York City, but especially in the underdeveloped communities here in New York City, those are the communities that are the most represented. So it just kind of makes sense that our people who are providing those services also reflect those communities, are from those communities. While in Sweden, we do a lot of work within the refugee community. So we have, we have Latinos in Sweden, we have Middle Eastern, Arab sisters and brothers in Sweden. We also do a lot of work around LGBTQ rights in Sweden, in Malmö specifically, where our Sweden affiliate is. There's a lot of big struggles around that. So a lot of our crew and the work that we do are reflective of those communities.
Right on. So a couple things came up for me that I'm definitely recalling, and this can go also into what exactly the Peepers Trainer certification is, and what it takes, like what all that entails. Because I think a great thing, and like even why we're recording this call, is to try to give as many options or methods for people to digest information. So I know on the RevFit trainers calls, like we have the video, and then there's like readings, like short readings that you can read, or podcasts. The video you can watch basically whenever. So catering to folks who, maybe like you yourself, you have a kid, so that, puts a certain capacity on you, and and we, the people who need it a lot, also have kids, or maybe working multiple jobs. Who knows, like what's going on? But this is the realities of the world we're living in, and the society. So I think that's an important aspect. So, like, what does that look like? I guess to fit into the People's Trainers program. What does that entail?
Yeah, I mean, there's two big things that come to mind. First of all, like you're right about, like I recently, some guy who's on my feed on Facebook, he runs the CrossFit in Harlem, and I have critiques about CrossFit, everyone knows, but I also got a lot of love for different members of that community. But he put up this post, he's a person of color, black guy based in Harlem, and he put up a post like, we need to make a CrossFit for poor people. And it basically started like this crazy rant of all these middle-class white people who are predominantly in the CrossFit community, who were just saying like, oh, this is ridiculous. CrossFit is free. All you need is a garage space. All you need is, just look on the website and you can get the WOD and all this kind of stuff. And because he didn't really have that political training and the political analysis that I think our certification provides, he wasn't really able to defend his point and what he was saying, I think, as clearly as he wanted to. And so in any case, I mean, it's like people who access most of the certifications out there, the trainers and instructors, they usually are folks who have disposable time, disposable income, who can take a week off from work to go to a certification, who have thousands of dollars to, buy into the certification, who are, they come from a community where they don't have to worry about doing 2 or 3 jobs potentially to pay bills, and all the, all the kind of social structures that are in place to basically, keep certain demographics away from accessing this knowledge. And so then the teachers and the leaders of these communities then are reflective of a more affluent, usually Caucasian background. And then the members of that community also reflect that, because they're going, like whatever the leader is projecting and whatever they're pushing is really what's going to be what the community grows into. And like for people of color, for people who or people who are queer folks, or people who are just don't have a lot of money to go to a certification, they could walk into a CrossFit, for this example, for instance, and feel like it's not for them, and feel like the culture that's in that space is not something that's conducive and doesn't make them feel comfortable. It doesn't provide a learning space for them. Potentially is a space that has a lot of discrimination, racism, homophobia, these things that manifest. And so for our organization, it's like, how can we flip that and actually make our certification as accessible for different folks as possible? We have a sliding scale model. We have a focus on recruitment in certain communities that are most affected. And with that, we want, that 19-year-old college kid to be able to go through our certification, but also that 38-year-old mother of three who doesn't have any time in the day because she's, working a job or two and trying to take care of her kids. We want her to be able to go through the certification as well. So our task is challenging, because how do you make it as accessible as possible? It's a constant thing that we're trying to grow and learn from, and make it as accessible as possible. So things like, having our online course has really been helpful. But also just like a very deliberate kind of political effort to recruit leadership in different communities, I think is the key component, right? Because like, if it's just like me, a cis male leading the organization, and just kind of like me dictating things and pushing my ideas and philosophy, then the organization will be very limited in its growth. But now we have leaders from all walks of life, and it's really making our community very dynamic. And especially if we can recruit from different parts of the country that are going through struggle, Atlanta being one of them, that are going through these periods of struggle, that brings more dynamic components to our work as well.
Right on.
And did you want me to go into the logistics of the certification in that question?
Yeah, just like the basic outline. How how long is it going to be? How much does it cost to join? How many hours is this going to take away of my time for the whole semester? Just stuff like that.
Right. So the way we currently have our certification structured has gone through different kind of iterations over the years. But now we're kind of like feeling very comfortable with where it's at. Is basically, it's a 4-month online course that we go over 15 modules. You're going to learn all the same stuff that you would in a typical certification to become a health and fitness instructor. So you'll learn about anatomy and nutrition and how to grow muscle and lose weight and all these kind of things, right? But it's all through that social and economic lens. So what are the politics behind all these issues? When we talk about like body image, how does that affect, how we're servicing communities, and, how we're developing programs? When we're talking about people living in food deserts, how does that affect our nutrition coaching, and how we're talking about digestive systems and hormones? So everything is very political in that sense, but not political like in an opportunistic way. And I think that's important to state. It's not like we're like trying to use health and fitness as a vehicle to push our politics, but rather it's a reflection that this health and fitness struggle and crisis is deeply political. And so let's talk about that, because the more we can understand the politics that go into the issues affecting our community around health, fitness, and wellness, the better we can service our community and our students, and really, help them achieve whatever goals they may have or obstacles they're trying to overcome. So we have this 4-month online course, which basically is you get access to the study materials. And like you were saying, it might be a short article, it might be a podcast, it might be a 5 to 10 minute video, different types of learning modalities. are usually prescribed from week to week. You study as much as you can. You study at your own pace, basically. So if you can look at all the content and study it all, great. If not, that's cool too. There's also 2 to 3 online video webinars that happen every week where folks jump on from different places throughout the world, and we'll discuss whatever that week's given module is. So like this week, we're talking about coaching. So we had a Sunday call in the morning that talked about coaching. We'll have a Wednesday night call. And then we'll also have a Thursday evening, afternoon Swedish call. It's in Swedish language because we have so many Swedish candidates now. And you can jump on one of those live and participate in the conversation, or just listen and observe, whatever. You can jump on via video. You could just call from your phone. So many different ways to access it based off of whatever you have available, access to and you feel comfortable with. And then if you can't jump on the live calls, they're all recorded and posted, so you can watch it at your own leisure or listen to it while you're, driving to work or whatever it is. And really with the idea that we're stacking the knowledge on top of itself, kind of being a little redundant and repetitive throughout the week, because that way people can access it in different ways. Or if they have opportunity to do multiple things throughout the week, it kind of stacks on top of each other and they learn even more. So that's how the form of course works, and it's a recurring thing. So say you jump in, right now we're on module 10. You can jump in on module 10, do the last 5 modules, and then it just starts right back up again. So it's a recurring kind of thing. And that really is attractive to folks, I think, because there's not the pressure of like having to wait for a date or having to make time in the future. It gets very hard for our folks to figure out like what next week holds, so it's better to start and do your thing at your own pace when you can. And then we schedule 4-day in-person intensives where we come together, all the people who have gone through the course. We come together for 4 days. We do a big kind of immersion and rehashing of everything that we taught throughout the course. And we also do a lot of physical things, teaching people how to move, the skills, that the philosophies of movement, teaching people how to coach, how to teach, how to facilitate, how to interact with students in classes, teaching all these skills. And there's also testing components. The testing, we have a physical, a written test, and a coaching test. And many people get scared about the physical, and rightly so, because life gets so crazy. Sometimes you fall off your program, you're on it, you're off it. So to think about a physical test is daunting for a lot of folks. But really, the physical test is more so not to be a test of strength or physical capabilities, but rather a test of competency of the core philosophies of movement, right? I'm more interested if someone understands where their center of gravity is and how to establish points of support and how to stabilize the spine. I'm more interested in those things than I am in if they can deadlift 300 pounds. That's secondary. That can come later if that's someone's goal. Maybe it's never going to be someone's goal. I want to know that they understand the concepts of movement and the human anatomy and all these things, and are able to work with different types of folks depending on people's capabilities. So that's how the certification works. And then upon that, once one completes that, they're a level 1 people's trainer, level 1 certified people's trainer, and they can teach classes, they can do small workshops, they can potentially do some online kind of webinar work with us. So it's really like this nice entry point level certification. And then there's different tiers after that, which we could go on in another call because that could take another 20 minutes to talk about.
Awesome. So I know, and I'll just say for you, Atlanta folks, that the People's Trainer certification is being offered to us free.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention price.
To the end of the year. Normally, I think it'd be a $600 base value, and then of course it's the tiered
sliding scale. Yeah.
Sliding scale. Otherwise, so that's if you enroll by the end of the year for the semester that will start in January. Like Shawn was saying, these 4-month semesters continue So you can hop on now on any of the calls and any of the modules, and then, you know, once our semester starts, we'll be prepared for our 4-day intensive. That's Thursday through Sunday, I believe. It's scheduled May 17th, I want to say, at the moment. And of course, that'll be, you know, once we get plugged in, you'll be very aware of it, all the happenings, and be connected with what's going on.
Yeah, and
That's
and
just
to that point too, I think people, like we said on the last call, we don't encourage people to like be flaky, you know, like we always want to be disciplined in our efforts, but we are in a special period in this first year where we're offering to all non-New York City based folks who want to go through the certification, or non-New York City and non-Sweden, because Sweden they started charging, but non-New York City and Sweden folks, free access to the certification in an effort to grow as an organization and to support the spreading of our mission throughout the country. And so you can jump in, like Mike was saying, get a feel for what it is, and maybe you come to the conclusion that it's not for you, and that's all good. There's not going to be any hard feelings about that. We want people to jump in, get immersed in this stuff, and see if they feel like there's a place for them. And I think there will be for many of you, but you know, it's great to have that access right now where you don't have to make any cash deposits or anything like this. You could just jump in, you know, start getting exposed to the content material, and then make a decision that's more concrete after that.
right. And I think, yeah, it just makes sense, since the offer is there, to go ahead and enroll, and, you know, no foul if you can't. We'll of course be building the community here and the structure to support one another, to be able to, you know, find ways to make sure everyone is comfortable and capable, or increasing their capacity, you know, to whatever they are able, to finish the certification. And that can be, you know, maybe you are, you know, a fitness professional already and have your own practice. Maybe you're just the enthusiast. Maybe you're just an organizer. Maybe you're just curious about plugging in. And I think this covers all these different levels, and this will all manifest in different ways. So on that, we'll kind of transition to the cooperative aspect of this program, because maybe you do have your own practice. Maybe you are already a physical trainer, or personal trainer. So how does that look, and what does it mean to be a part of a cooperative?
Yeah. So you know, our people's trainer certification is for people who are already in the field, who are newly looking to get in the field, or even people who don't necessarily want to be trainers or coaches or teachers, but are looking for more personal growth out of it. So it's open to all of those folks, and upon certification, you can do basically anything you want with the certification. You can develop your own personal business. You can start working for a studio or a gym or something like that, or a CrossFit. You know, whatever you want to do, we want to support you in that, right? Because the more people's trainers we can have all over in different areas, maybe there's a people's trainer who's also a dean at a high school and can do some more restorative practices using their revolutionary fitness knowledge in the work that they're doing in their high school. Maybe there's a people's trainer who starts working for the local Planet Fitness where things are reckless and we know that there's no instruction, but now we know we have a people's trainer there influencing the members and students there. So you can do all those things, but there is also a way to continue plugging in to Revolutionary Fitness, the organization, through the cooperatives, the worker-owned cooperatives. So cooperatives, many folks are familiar with the a general sense of what a cooperative is, because they know of like supermarket, grocery cooperatives, or housing cooperatives, where people are coming together, working together collectively, cooperatively, to maybe make the service or the housing or whatever it is, the product, more available, accessible, affordable, all these kind of things. Maybe volunteering a few hours a month and paying a small membership fee to gain access to something at a cheaper or lower rate. Is this idea that if we come together and do the work together, that we can be more cost effective, we can be more effective with human needs to whatever the, services, all these kind of things. A worker-owned cooperative is a type of cooperative where basically you have a business, and we'll just use the example of Revolutionary Fitness because it's easy to understand as we put into context. So we have a fitness studio, let's say. We have a fitness studio where we provide fitness classes, workshops, all these kind of things. And then we have our main practitioners at that space, the people who are facilitating the classes, doing the personal training, the coaching, all these kind of things. Maybe it's, also like the people who are the front desk manager, the sales manager, whoever it is. We have this crew of folks, or even like an acupuncturist, physical therapist who's working in the space. And they come together and they create this worker-owned cooperative where they're also not only employees working at the space, but they all are owners of the space and of the efforts. And so this is a very unique kind of business model. And the reason that we as an organization moved towards this model recently is because as we have discussions on like, what do you do to develop your business post-certification? How do we create more sustainability for the work that we do? How do we ensure that we're not creating an elitist culture and we're promoting democracy and we're promoting, leadership and all these things? What kind of business model would do that for us as an organization politically and logistically and all these things? And the worker-owned cooperative falls directly in line with the Revolutionary Fitness mission. So, for instance, New York, our Harlem studio for the past 2 years has been owned by me and my partner, Jenny, who's another master trainer with Revolutionary Fitness. And we've been the owners, sole proprietors, LLC kind of thing. And that's been great. And we kind of work like a cooperative anyways, because it's me and my partner, and she would kick my ass if I didn't give her equal say. But in any case, we've decided to go even a step further, and all the full-time staff who are teaching classes in the Harlem studio also had the opportunity to buy in to be owners of the space. And so now our studio there's going to be 5 of us moving into ownership in January. And so we'll have our bylaws on how we run business and how we ensure democracy and how we pay each other. We collectively decide how much we're going to pay each other, how many hours we're going to allocate towards administrative tasks, towards being paid for classes, all these kind of things. And every decision will be collectively decided. Everyone has equal vote. Everyone has one vote. So on a week-to-week basis, if we want to decide, all right, are we getting rid of this class? Are we changing the pricing on personal training? Are we going to change our garbage pickup company? Whatever the decisions are, we collectively come to those decisions. And so everyone has a stake in the business and in the work that we do. And so it ups people's commitments, which is great. And at the same time, everyone also is benefiting if the space is benefiting. If there's a quarter that we don't have great success and, we're kind of struggling, we collectively struggle together. And that's a big thing that is important in any kind of, liberation work. That is a collective struggle, and that struggles are not isolated individual kind of struggles where people are kind of dealing with their own thing and not tapping into resources and being ashamed when things aren't going well. That's really what manifests a lot of times in small businesses, especially. And so this way, if there's a struggle collectively, we can all like deal with that burden together. Also, if there's success, we all benefit equally. So, and then in terms of pay, we pay ourselves for the classes and the things that we do. And then, of course, at the end of the year, there's revenue that's generated, or hopefully. And so then that revenue is then split up equally to all of the worker owners. So say there's a $50,000 surplus at the end of the year, which is what it's looking like here in New York City. There'll be a $50,000 surplus. Instead of it just going to Jenny and I, it's going to go to 5 of us, so everyone will get $10,000 like a bonus at the end of the year kind of thing. I wish me and Jenny were seeing profit. Honestly, we've been reinvesting most of the money. So, but hopefully in 2018, we'll see a nice profit with a bigger team coming together. Because in New York, for instance, since we've been running a lot of the education stuff, we've also basically been like part-time owners, and the space has been really functioning unofficially like a cooperative. So it's been really great, but now we're excited to make it really official and basically create a template for all the other affiliates throughout the world who are going to be forming their affiliate and their worker-owned cooperative. So in Atlanta, there's already a group of people who are interested in certification, and then a core group of people who are interested in forming the cooperative. And that's going to be very exciting to have those different tiers of entry. So maybe you're into the idea of a cooperative. Maybe you have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about, and you're like, I don't know what Shawn's saying. But all those things are being established in Atlanta, so that's a really cool, exciting thing.
There's loud noises. Hold on.
No doubt. So while you're dealing with the loud noises, I also wanted to say that we said in the last call that we didn't want to confuse people, that the certification and the cooperative, those are two different things. So if you're interested in certification, interested in what we were talking about in the first half of this call, great, let's plug you in. If you're interested in the cooperative, that's a deeper level of involvement. And so we want to encourage more people to be a part of that conversation. And we're going to have offline conversations about that with the folks who are interested in the cooperative. So don't feel like because you live in Atlanta and you want to go through the certification that you also have to do the cooperative or anything like that, because I know some people get overwhelmed by those kind of things.
Yeah, right on. And I know we're running out of time here, so just to wrap up real quick, appreciate your time again. It's been awesome working and building this this vision and this continuing this project out in new territories, in a place that very badly also needs fitness and health revitalization, rejuvenation, the political education that goes at that. So just for anybody who's listening and still has any questions, you can feel free to message me. You can email me. You can give me a call or text. It's Michael Quintero on Facebook. It should be easy to find. Actually, what is the email address
For Atlanta?
Right.
It's Atlanta@revolutionaryfitness.org.
Right.
And then my email too is Shawn, SHAWN @revolutionaryfitness.org as well, if you want to contact me. And then on most social media, you can find me at Shawn Refit. So SHAWNREVFIT. That's on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, however you want to hit me up too.
Awesome. Sounds good. So anybody out there who's a little interested, whose interest is piqued at all, like, go ahead and roll. We're going to be working on this, getting people certified, just having conversations. I know we're already going to have a kickback this weekend with some of the people locally interested. We'll be continuing to build that community so that we can go to the communities you want to work in and bring in the program there. So I think that's it for now.
Cool. Awesome, Mike. Thanks so much for making this happen. I know it's hard for us to get in contact this week. We were going back and forth trying to figure out scheduling, but it's really, for us in New York, it's a struggle building, but I know in the cities where we're new and we're just getting things going, that it's even harder because you're kind of working in, on the project alone for a long time. And I want to thank you for your efforts. And I really am excited about, everything that's been developing. I mean, me and you have been working on this Atlanta initiative for a year, if not more. And so to be at this stage where we're finally getting a core group together and getting our certification organized and all these things is really exciting for us here at Revolutionary Fitness headquarters. And we're excited to get into Atlanta and get some warmer weather in New York in the winter.
I don't know. We'll see.
I know. It looks like you got a scarf on and stuff. I'm like, I think I'm warmer over here.
Yeah, possibly. I don't know. It's about to tank, so we'll see how it goes.
All right, bro. So I'll talk to you soon, and I'll send you this recording so we could share it to all your folks.
Awesome.
All right,
man. Thanks.
Peace.